Hello, Global Theater. My name is Gerry Fialka. Today's July 4th, 2025. Want to thank Rob Grant and his amazing podcast, I'm Probably Wrong About Everything. Please subscribe. Also want to thank Frank Zappa for uniting me with today's guest, Francesco Gentile. How do you pronounce it, Francesco?
Gentile, Francesco Gentile.
First question, where are you calling from?
From Rome, Italy.
How cool is that? First question is, what is the best thing for a human being?
The best thing? To be in touch with the other human beings. And I think that if the other human beings around you are happy, you will be happy too. So for your convenience, you have to let people be happy, because this is the only way you will be happy too, I think.
Yes, beautiful. Let them be happy.
Yeah.
What's your favorite form of information? How it comes into you?
It is changing, because I studied and I grew up with paper and books, but now I still read books on paper, but now, for instance, the English books, I do prefer to read them on a IT support, because you have this English dictionary on your finger, so I can when you read a text in English with you can ask immediately for a dictionary, so it's easy for
that's good. But did you grow up a reader because, one, your parents told you to, two, they did it as an example, or three, on your own?
I think on my own, but also for my two older sisters. They were 10 and 12 years older than me, and they went to the university, and when I was at school, so I was surrounded of people studying. But my parents, they were from southern Italy, and they didn't study so much. My mother, for instance, I think she even didn't finish the primary school.
But
so,
did you grow up learning English in grade school, high school, college? When did in other languages? Are you Italian, English, and what else? What's your language learning situation?
I learned English in the secondary school, and my English was I had a little help from Frank Zappa and the Zappa community, because I started to be in touch with this community early in the 90s, I think, and when the internet was a little baby, but already there was a forum called Alt Fan Frank Zappa a long time ago. Maybe you know it. And so I started to write to these people, and also because my first 10 years of professional career in IT industry was in a research company, and I was told to organize international meeting, to attend international meetings. So my English grew up for music and professional activities. And then I married a woman of German origin, so I can understand a few German, but not that much.
So mainly you're English and Italian, reading and speaking. Yeah. Good. You're speaking English really good. You're getting through to me fine. Why do you think humans collect or gather information?
Why do you think human?
Yeah, why do you think humans, we Why do we collect information?
Okay. Wow. I I have to think about it because it's a nice question. I will keep this question with me. I think also later. Why do you think? Because curiosity, I think it's the main driver, and and uh, and necessity as
Yeah.
is these two main driver, I think. But
But
curiosity. Hmm.
is it more innate or more invented? Because those are really good. You sussed it out well. You're concise and articulate. And it's like, is it innate in humans to collect information, or did we invent it?
No, I think it's innate, but the first I think is necessity is the main driver if you don't have much resources. Then when you will have much more researches, you go for it also for curiosity. I
Yeah.
think. I
Do
think.
thoughts create emotions?
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Fill
agree.
in. Yeah.
Hmm.
Fill in the blank. I don't know what I think until I.
I don't know.
Yeah. You fill in the blank on the
Yeah,
last
I
word.
understand. I
I.
understand
I don't know what I think
what I
until I.
ah. Uh, the let me put it in other words. If you have a problem and you look for a solution, um, the solution is easy when the problem is clear. So the I don't know what I think. It's because I don't I don't understand reality in that very moment. But this is a condition I'm in every moment because the world as it is and the relationship with other humans is always um, it's always how do you say, a challenge for me because it's every day surprising in a bad and in a good way too.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to think. I need time. I need time. With everything I mean, I'm a person who needs time before having an opinion, before knowing what to think. A lot of time to understand. Yes, I'm not. In my intuition, I think I have. I can have intuition, but I feel better if I can go in deep and understand again, and then
No, I understand what you're saying, and I want you to feel like you don't have to rush your answer. Because
no.
if you read my pre-instructions, I say silence is okay. When I ask you a question, you could. I had this guy last week, and he would just sit there for a minute and think, and I'm like, hey, that's all right. We're in no hurry. But yeah, what I think you said is I don't know what I think until I take the time to try to understand reality. Yeah, that was good. Can humans think without language?
This reminds me of a book I read now. I don't recall the title. That is a philosophic reflection about humans when they don't know how to write. So how to write is, I think, strictly connected with this issue. Because if you are an oral culture person,
Yeah,
and if you don't have you do have a language, but you do not have writings. the brain works differently. So the main issue is having a written language, because
Yeah.
if you write your thoughts flows in another way. I think I can't I can only imagine how my thoughts would be if I don't know how to write.
Yeah.
But I think that's the main turning point in human culture.
Yeah.
And the book was, I have somewhere here, but now I read it a lot of years ago, because it was a suggestion of a musicologist, now a friend of mine that I met through Frank Zappa contacts. It's an Italian name named Giordano Montecchi. Uh, Montecchi is the same surname of one of the family of Romeo and Juliet.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, when you find the title, type it into the comments
Okay.
later. Yeah. Yeah, because
Okay.
you have a picture of Giordano on your website.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I want to interview him too. Is he still around?
Yeah. I think
Good.
he would be happy to do that.
Good.
I can I can show it in this video, and I think because some questions, I think
Yeah.
it would be stimulating for him. Now he is in his 70s, but is a bright mind.
Yeah.
He is a bright mind, and he did a lot of speeches about Frank Zappa, and an
Good.
interesting person to talk to.
Chomsky says language is not just words. It's a culture, a tradition, a unification of community, a whole history that creates what a community is. What do you do when language doesn't work? When language breaks down, what do you do?
That's a difficult question, because is I have a teenage daughter, and sometimes I understand that her messages flows in the air, in a way that it does not depend on what she is saying. So often, I realize this a lot of time in dealing with humanity, that sometimes it's more important what they do than what they say. You have to watch relationship with other persons must not be only based on languages and speaking, because
But when you have a communication breakdown with your daughter
Hmm.
via words, what do you do?
Yeah.
Hey, that's good. You laugh.
Yeah, yes, because it's sometimes I try to my first reaction is silence,
Oh, that's beautiful.
and then I try to make a one step back, two steps back, five steps back, and then try to start again. We people in general, it's when they sometimes you have to renounce sometimes in the profession. My professional life, I remember I had a bad communication with a colleague of mine, and I tried everything I could to communicate with her, but with not much results. So I decided that I had to change the the objective, because our language, our speaking communication was not going anywhere, but it was only because she doesn't want to do what she had to do. And so I decided to, because I was in that particular situation, I was her project leader, and she simply doesn't want to do that. So I decided to do it by myself and give her another task. But she was not saying to me, I don't want to do that. She said a lot of things that I even do not did not understand, and then I changed. Sometimes you have to renounce and find another path.
Yeah.
I think.
Really smart. Good move. You're communicating well to me. I love that. You silence, take 5 steps backwards, change the objective. All very clear. Thank you so much. And your observations of humans in general. Are we more feeling beings or more thinking beings?
No. If I understood your question, it's a matter of your own personal characteristics. You might be rational. Cartesius is your primary star, or maybe you are all intuition.
Yeah.
Yes. Try. If I can put it this way, you have now a president in the United States that what he says is completely useless. You have to simply gather the information about what he is doing, but what he says is useless.
Yeah. Actions and words are 2 different things. You've distinguished between that. And that's good, because we think, we can separate feelings and thinking, but we invented the words, but we can't. They're too connected. But we want to think this. This is 2 questions from Alan Turing in the 50s. One, is thinking a function of the soul?
If you solve this this question, you have a very step forward for humanity. How do you say it? Thinking is an expression of soul?
Is thinking a function of the soul?
A function of the soul. Function. Yeah. The thing is that you should not separate your physical, your brain from your body. You better not do it. And thinking is a function of soul. I think. Yes. If so, we have to define soul. Soul is if soul is what make you happy, what make you sad, and all your experiences and your knowledge. Yes, I may agree with Alan Turing. And the word function is something that I would not use, because function is I studied mathematics, and function is it's something too predetermined, too rigid to be applied to human thinking, I think.
But you're good, because I'm for changing the words on my question, and I like that you challenge that word. I'm for stories, anecdotes, tangents. You don't have to answer the question, but in this regard, what's a better word I could use in that wording? Or Alan Turing, thinking is a what of the soul. What would you substitute there instead of function that would suss out the question better?
Yeah. For what I can say, some maybe thinking and soul it's the same.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You could just say, is thinking different from the soul?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people think thinking is the mind. So
Mm-hmm.
it's sort of the mind, the body, and the soul. And here's deeper. The second Turing question is the world you've been involved in. Can machines think?
No, for me, this is not. The answer is straight because machines. Maybe when someone will be able to realize a machine, organic machine, and then you maybe use these terms. But unless you have until you have a machine like we know them now, I think they can't think. Absolutely, they can make you think they are thinking, but if you know how they how they are made, I think you can understand that it's a machine.
There's two Frank Zappa quotes that apply to our discussion over the last few minutes. The one I forgot to say is, you can't even speak your own fucking language. That's a great line Frank throws in because he's a very wordy musician, even though he does a lot of instrumentals.
Yeah.
In this one, can machines think? You say no, I agree. But in Joe's garage, I think the robot says, "Pluke me now, you savage rascal."
Yes, exactly. Yes, but I think, as we said before, if thinking is the same that soul, and the thing is that a machine can't have a soul.
Yeah, there you go. Do you more pursue happiness or more pursue meaning?
This is changing because if you asked me this question 30 years ago, I would say that meanings, without meanings, you can, without pursuing meaning, you can't pursue happiness. Because meaning for me was central. I needed to understand precisely what I have in front of me. Unless you have this condition, it's difficult to be happy with. But now that I'm getting older, I think sometimes you have to uh, put down your objective of reaching the full meaning. Meanings is sometimes can be an obstacle to happiness,
Yeah.
because this is connected to me with the question of having a written language, or being in an oral culture. Well, if you are in an oral culture, meanings is more is something. The thing is, we in the Western culture tend to we want to see 1 + 1 = 2, but this approach uh, can be of an obstacle to happiness, I think.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't need to understand exactly what is and your brain function is surprisingly function during the night when you dream. And sometimes, if I don't understand something, I force me not to think about it, especially if something is I am thinking and thinking. I force me not to think about it, and often after one or two nights, I have a clearer version of this thing. So
You mean you suss it out through your dreams? You kind of work it out.
yes, because when the brain is free of think without the language, language is a virus. Some other people said. You can,
Burroughs,
yes,
William Burroughs, yeah.
yeah. So sometimes language can be not the solution. You have to think in another way, and as we are formed with this culture, with strict. Uh, Sometimes when you sleep, not I think a few minutes ago I used the verb dream, but I wanted to say sleep, not dream. if
Sleep,
if
not dream,
if,
yeah.
if you when you're sleeping, your brain is much more free than when you are
Yeah,
not sleeping. And it can produce a lot of enlightenments.
yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying. That's good. Because Viktor Frankl wrote a book, Man's Search for Meaning. He
Yeah.
says that meaning tends to last, happiness doesn't necessarily last. Would
Hmm.
you agree or disagree with him?
Meaning tend to last. No, no, meanings is not forever.
Yeah,
When you think that something is, you have that 1 + 1 = 2. It can't be for. A few things are forever. Everything is moving, and you have to be available to change your mind on a lot of things. But of course, in tools like driving a vehicle or things like that, functions in this case can be probably I won't change my mind on how to drive a car, but how to deal with human beings, of course, every day I'm changing.
you know, just to go to the Italian culture, and you're differentiating, there's some degree where there's some cultures that are more oral,
Mm.
spoken word, and more some cultures are more linear, kind of book oriented, thinking rational. With people like Dante and Umberto Eco in Italian culture, do you think your fellow Italians are more uh, feeling or more thinking? Are they more oral? They just talk and gesture more? Or are they now? I mean, it's unfair generalization, but just any thoughts on that distinguishing? Is it more gesture oral or is it more linear book writing?
No, but I think it's in this matter is not there are not much differences in Western in the richest Western countries, because it depends on your social condition.
Right.
If you are in a in if you don't have much resources, much probably you are not much literated. You don't
Yeah.
you didn't go to university. Maybe you studied up until you are 15 or 16, and then if this is your condition, and um, if you didn't go for books or studying by yourself, then you will be more on the feeling side.
Yeah.
And then and you're thinking, for instance, my mother, as I told you, didn't study so much, and in fact, year after year, I learned that what he said, not like your president, but what he said was not so much important. What was important is what the feeling between us, and what she do. But what he said, sometimes, often he said things that he didn't she then didn't do.
Yeah.
So it's much a matter of your time, because if you spend, I like studying. I think studying is fundamental in your life. But if you watch the lifetime of a person, and if you keep out all the hours you spend studying and readings, and substitute with quarreling with people, dealing with people, be happy with people, be bad with people, it's a completely different experience.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
And
There was a writer, I heard her talk on the radio, and she said her mother never read a book. She lived in the Caribbean, but she knew what to do when the tsunami hit from a song that they sang. So there's a good example, bottom line.
that's a
So
great. In fact, my mother, often he had a lot of uh, I don't know in English, uh, phrasal sentences, like proverbio si dice in italiano. I don't know in English. But sometimes, in every situation, she have the same phrase that apply and that give you a direction.
yeah,
Because language is it's writing and reading and books, or whatever. It's can change completely the soul of a person.
yes.
Huh.
Okay, but here's the next step. Beautiful lead into does the brain more detect consciousness or create it? Like, is consciousness there bubbling away and we're more so detecting it or more so creating it?
You saying the brain create consciousness?
Or
Uh,
detects it? Creates or detects? Like, is it there and we're detecting it, or are we creating it?
no, I think the brain created. The brain,
Yeah.
you can see it's an inorganic machine, and
Yeah.
he took an input and give you an output in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I think it's all it's not if you don't have senses, your consciousness change, because input difference. There's another input, right? If you don't see, or if you don't hear, what arrives to the brain is different, and your consciousness is different, completely
Yeah.
different.
What's
So
faster? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
no, so that's why I think it's the brain that create consciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's faster, the speed of light or speed of thought?
The speed of light, I can reason about it only in abstract, because I can't see it. I can, how do you say? It's not in my experience, so I don't know. I think uh, speed in thinking. I think speed in thinking is not a. It's not usable to think about thinking in terms of speed.
Right.
Yeah. Mhm.
Audre Lorde is a poet. She said, you can't dismantle the master's house using the master's tools. Her colleague Yvonne Rayner said, "Oh, you can if you expose the tools." What new tool do you suggest? And it doesn't have to be tangible. It's really, I'm asking you, what tool do you most gravitate towards? What's the tool that's most important in your life?
The tool. The tool. I don't know. My senses. I think because I had an health experience recently that now it's completely okay, because I had a view problem. Yeah, I had a double vision. In Italian, it's called diplopia. When you see, when your eyes doesn't synchronize, so
Yeah.
you have two images. And for 6 months, I had this condition, and so I couldn't. I stayed in the first 2 months. I needed to be in the dark because light. If I had much light, I had also brain headache, and so that's I changed my habits. I started to listen to a lot of radio and podcasts and music, and I understand. And luckily enough, I'm completely out of this, and I think the view is in that way is a necessary tool, and senses.
Yeah, no, senses is a great answer. Sensory perception. So
Yeah.
did an operation help you, or did medicine? What helped? What cured you?
No, it's medicine. I think medicine, because it
Yeah.
was an inflammatory the thing that I had on my, I don't know the English terms. There are muscle, ok,
Yeah.
and tendini, non so come si dice, un attimo.
Well, basically you're better.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Tendon.
Tendons, yeah.
It was a tendon. Uh, Tendon was swollen. Okay, a little tendon of the eye was swollen, and it's a tendon that is a circular
Yeah.
one. And inside, it's there's a muscle, and this was stopped, this movement.
Yeah.
So I didn't synchronize. They give me some medicine for some months, and slowly it went away.
Really good. Good to hear that.
Yeah.
So, what new toy do you suggest, or what toy do you gravitate towards? What's a toy that you like?
A toy is something I can I think a toy is a good toy when your thinking is go far from language. Maybe
Yeah.
I can show you one near me that I bought when my daughter was
Oh, yeah.
okay. This one, for example, is a good toy to me,
Yes.
because I go there and grow this tower, and my thinking is somewhat suspended.
Yeah.
My I can tell, but going back to our discussion, and now I realize that a toy is a good toy when you go far from the language.
Great. Suspense thinking
Yeah.
takes you away from language. Yeah.
And your thinking is shaped is in another totally in another way.
Yeah. Non-verbal. Not
Yeah,
non
non-verbal, yes, because
non-verbal.
non-verbal thinking is
Yeah.
something very powerful, because
Yeah.
sometimes you are stick to a problem. You think this is a great problem, because the way you formulate this problem actually is the real problem.
Yeah.
So you, if you are able to step back and rearrange your thinking, it's
Yeah.
often it can be the exit.
But how did you learn the value of nonverbal thinking? From being in IT, or from grade school or high school, something else? How did you learn that nonverbal thinking is essential?
Discussing with this friend of mine, and I want to give me 30 seconds. I want to take this book. Should be
Yes, no
there.
worries.
Allora. Okay, Walter Ong. I go to my comments.
Oh, yeah, no, you don't have to do it then. You mean Walter Ong, ONG?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I know who he is. Yeah.
Okay, perfectly.
That's the book that Giordano turned you on to?
Yes, and it was fundamental for me. It's
What's the title?
in Italian is the translation directly from Italian is Orality and Writings, but the original title, let me see if they put it, Orality and Literacy.
Oh, yeah, Orality and Literacy. I got it on my shelf.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's a great book. It's a great
oh,
book.
he worked with Marshall McLuhan. Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
very
And it's and Giordano taught me and gave me another book, but it's not it's okay. He taught me that the same thing happened into written music and oral music.
yeah,
When they started to write down music, even in the Western culture, a lot of information
yeah,
was out of the writing. So there's language and written music as something in common. When you the thing is, when humans try to find an abstract theory, it's they generate other problems. Okay,
yes,
and there's the mathematician, important mathematician and logic that studied logic is his name is oh dear.
Pascal.
Wait a minute. Gödel, Kurt Gödel.
Oh, yeah.
Kurt Gödel.
Put
Find
put the book to the camera. Let me just see it for a second. Oh, yeah, Gödel. Yeah, Godel. Yeah, that's really important.
this guy find a theorem that says that in every theory you can imagine perfectly consistent, perfectly complete, there's a sentence that you can't say if it's true or false.
Yeah,
He demonstrated, and I think this is a perfect metaphor for human thinking.
oh,
Like
yeah,
when you try to formalize, to put things in the right places, your destiny is to fail, because sometimes you will find something and you can't say if it's true or false in your theory.
yeah. That's a couple things. That's Frank Zappa said. I'm a failure, but I'm not a miserable failure. And Charlie Hayden, great bass player who played with Ornette Coleman, he plays an old hillbilly song, Appalachian folk song, in the middle of an Ornette song. He quotes an old song.
Yeah.
And I asked him, who wrote that? What's the name of that song? He said, that's old Joe Clark. I says, who wrote it? He said, Nobody wrote it because somebody wrote it, but it's just passed down
Yeah,
before they were writing.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then my other favorite is Gurdjieff. You know Gurdjieff?
Maybe
Anyways,
that's Indian. No.
meetings with remarkable men. Gurdjieff used to play piano like Keith Jarrett, just like,
Hmm.
sort of improvising. And
Hmm.
they didn't have any recording device. So the guy would sit there and try to transcribe it as he was playing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So we can hear his music like what he was playing, kinda. They're transcribing on the spot. I mean, how that's pretty hard. So,
Yeah.
what do you worry about when you go to bed at night?
I don't know. Uh, Maybe I don't. It's not any worries. I think because my sleeping mechanisms are such that as soon as I go to bed, I immediately fall asleep.
Yeah,
But I will wake up very early in the morning.
yeah,
So the only so I'm very happy to go to sleep. I like it
yeah,
because I know that I would fall immediately. Uh, Maybe I can be worried of wake up too early. No, it's not an issue. Uh,
yeah.
uh,
So, McLuhan learned from Ezra Pound, the poet, that artists are the antenna of the race. They're broadcasting and detecting the hidden psychic effects of our inventions so we might learn how to cope with what we don't like about our inventions.
mhm.
So I ask you the question McLuhan probed his whole career. Why do we ignore the hidden psychic effects of our inventions, even though the artists are broadcasting them to us? I'm glad you're laughing.
Uh, the thing is that the people that the more you're far from poets, the more you even don't understand the question.
Yeah.
So, and when
But
you're
I'm saying deep, even like the Zappa community, and there's people who like the guitar solos. There's people who like the words. There's people who like the instrumentals and not the words.
Mhm.
So there's something deeper on what Frank's communicating with his words, let's say. It's a little deeper. It's the surface, like I want my titties and I want my beer. That it's not, he's he's not saying, sort of raw primal needs that he wants. He's sort of saying maybe a little deeper message. Here it is. I'm going to show you what humans are kind of desiring. And is this what it's like the hidden messages in art, not just poets, but in music and in IT and everything. Why do some humans tend to ignore the hidden messages?
Mhm. You have you have you have to learn how to read this hidden language, and maybe now that you are putting in this way, I think Frank Zappa's music is something that uh, uh, I owe to this music. Uh, I learned how to read the hidden message. I learned how to go
Yeah,
in deep. This is, I think, what Frank Zappa left me mainly, and it was a lot of fun trying to understand what's
yeah,
inside, and I'm still doing right now. For instance, I recently uh, go mad with the lyrics of Excentrifugal Force, which is a mess of cryptography. I think it's
It's a what?
it's a crypto. There must be a lot of hidden messages.
You know what it is? It's about Corla Pandit, the organ player.
Yeah.
You know that. Yeah.
Yeah. I recently tried to understand what's behind it, because in the surface it's something just is
Abstract. It sounds abstract.
yes, it's surrealism.
It's
It's
surrealistic. Yeah.
yeah. But inside the does I think the last verse is a reference to Lowell George, because
Really?
yes.
In what way?
Because this is an absurd theory. It's a toy. I take these lyrics and I played with them. I'm not saying I'm sure of it, but if you read these lyrics, it's in the middle of the verse. He says, "His little feet got long and flexible,"
Oh, wow.
and little feet. Uh, I read I made a lot of searching in the internet, and there are a few sources that says that he had little feet, and that's
That
why
little George had little feet. Yeah.
yeah, and then maybe uh, the the other musicians make fun of it, and
Yeah.
then he decided to call his group Little Feet
Yeah.
with
Yeah. That's
okay.
really heavy. Yeah. I never
And
realized that.
but I'm saying I don't know if it's true. And on the beginning he says, and then I'll call Pop Tentacle. I'll ask him how's his chin. I'll find out how the future is, because that's where it's been.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, Pop Tentacle is it's Lower George, because he had this hair shaped like this, like a tent, like a Canadian tent, because a pub tent. I read somewhere that is a slang or a technical term for that kind of 70s and 60s tents. And he also had a chin, and I'll find out how the future is, because I think that the reference is to the mothers, the disbanded mothers, and to the fact that the Lowell George was eventually the only one who was able to go for his own project, a new project, and to go to the future. And then he said, and suckers fell right in. Cioè, this suckers, I think, was because he was angry with the old mothers, I think. And the time he crossed the line from later on to way back then. This is a great lyric, because it's also connected with Frank Zappa, thinking about time.
Yeah.
And
All times are happening now.
exactly.
All at onceness. Well, you did research on a song. I flipped out when I found out about Corla Pandit.
Yeah.
I interviewed a whole bunch of Zappa people, and I asked them, did Frank know that Corla Pandit was black and he disguised himself as an Indian, or did Frank intuit it? And Pamela DeBar said it best. She says both. and George Duke, when I asked him, because he's on the track, he says, I think Frank said something about that once, like it was the power of suggestion. He was like, yeah, I think so. Napoleon actually got mad at me, because he was not mad, but he was like, no, he wasn't happy that a black man had to disguise himself from being black to make it. And then I've got a whole bunch of other answers from various, you know, because there was a guy who played organ
Yeah.
at Silent Movie Theater in
Yeah.
L.A.
Yeah.
His name's Bob Mitchell, and he knew Corla Pandit. And I said to him, did people know that Corla Pandit was black? Because most people did not know that.
Uh-huh.
They went along with his disguise.
Uh-huh.
And Bob Mitchell said, oh yeah, some of us knew that Corla was black. So
Uh-huh.
see, Frank and Don Van Vliet were probably watching Corla Pandit on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And they
Yeah.
laugh. They goes, that guy's black. They could have intuited it, or they could, because when he says him and me can play the blues,
Yeah.
you don't play blues with guys from India. You don't play the blues with Ravi Shankar unless you are Rai Cooder many, many years later. You know, so in general, he was saying, I know this guy is black because he can play the blues. You know,
I
that
maybe.
was Frank kind of revealing he knew that Corla Pandit was a disguise, you know.
Yeah. That's
You know,
nice.
did you see the Corla Pandit documentary?
No, no,
Oh,
no.
you should see it. I think it's free on YouTube. Any,
Okay.
anyways, it's a deep subject, and you really opened up a whole new can of worms for me in that regards, because I'm not aware of there. I only really accentuated on a certain part of that song, and the rest of it
I
it
think
didn't. Yeah, it's a good theory. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. But I think Corla Pandit is in this song because he wanted to say that you want to play with musicians that as is
Hammond D organ.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
organ. But he wanted to say that I like to have with me musicians that are out of ordinary.
Out of
And
the ordinary. Yeah.
yes, I want to you don't have the more you are not perfectly straight, the more I like to uh, take what you have and put it in my music. He always changed the music
Yeah.
when changing people, his music is changed.
Yeah.
And
It's a really good point, because Hammond B organism is different than Hammond organ.
yeah,
So it's Frank messing. But yeah, Frank always, I saw a guy come over to Frank's house once, and he played all these songs on a accordion for Frank.
huh,
And
wow,
Frank loved it. And then, I'm obsessed with the fact that Zappa has a kazoo on over 20 songs.
uh-huh,
So he was always using different kind of instrumentation, unorthodox,
yeah,
as
yeah, yeah.
you really made a good point.
Yeah, he want to, since the blues is central in his culture. He wants to play the blues with musicians that are unorthodox. This is the message.
Yeah, did you ever see his business card? It said Frank Zappa, a composer, master blues guitarist.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
you've seen that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that was good. You really covered that. You learned how to study the hidden psychic effects by studying Zappa. You learned how to do that. But it's back to the question is, why do people ignore
Mm.
studying the hidden psychic effects? In general, why do they ignore? Your guess or your hunch?
I don't know. It's difficult. It's difficult. I don't know. Really.
But then go to why did you use Zappa to learn how to do that? Because T.S. Eliot, the poet, he gives you And James Joyce does it in Finnegan's Wake. They teach you how to read their poems or read their books in the midst of the the text itself.
Yeah.
So I mean, why do you think you went that direction and said I'm going to study Zappa deeper than just using it as wallpaper entertainment in the background?
Yeah. But the thing is, a question of yours was about why do you go for information?
Yeah,
And I said curiosity and necessity,
yeah,
and maybe it's this: when you don't have enough resources, you will not go for it for curiosity.
yeah,
And if you don't have this curiosity, maybe you don't go for second and third level meanings.
yeah,
You need curiosity to do that,
yeah,
because it can't. It's not in the necessity side of this. So the thing is. Maybe is connected with us, and then it's a matter of chance. I've been lucky enough to meet Frank Zappa, and this mechanism of thinking uh, burn up in my way of reasoning, and some other people maybe can be go for or James Joyce,
yeah,
for
yeah.
instance, and
Yeah,
or William Barr.
something made you go in that direction.
Same.
Yeah.
It was a chance for me.
Yes.
It was a chance, I think, because
Yeah.
when I met Frank Zappa, for instance, I don't even know nothing about James Joyce. James Joyce was something I learned about maybe 10 years later, when I was in my late 20s, and my first approach was I was scared about it. Then I go much more into English, and then I read parts in English, and also the music of the text. I think it's very very much enjoyable, but I've never read it completely, and I'm very when I read that you made this reading things with Finnegan's Wake, I was amazed. It must have been a very very great experience of being in touch with other humans, I think.
Yeah, it's mainly the camaraderie you have. It's the same thing you share with the fellow Zappa fans.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I share it with both, and it's amazing. But I want to get into Zappa. We'll probably have to do it in part two because we only got about 30 more minutes. And
Yeah.
some of these background questions, it leaks into the Zappa stuff. But because you brought it up, what age did you literally meet Frank Zappa? Or you're saying when you started listening to his music?
I'm started listening to his music when I was, I think, 13,
At age 13.
because someone gave me as a birthday gift Hot Rats.
Oh, you started with Hot Rats at age
Yeah,
13.
and in the first months or so, it was a shock, because it was something it was different from everything I know.
What were you listening to in general? What were some of the other music you were listening? Were you a music freak then or just casual?
Uh, I was a casual listener. Um, my family gave me for a present a little hi-fi, and the seller gave me Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. Then in that period in the 70s in Italy, there was a lot of uh, what do you say, singers, uh, Italian ones, but and then arrived this Frank Zappa that was completely different.
Yeah.
But after a couple of years, I think, when I was in my late secondary school, I started to be in touch with other people uh, with a collection of vinyls, and then I jumped to Joe's garage, and then slowly I wanted to know everything about Frank Zappa. But in these first years, I didn't even know that I was going to go in deep.
Deep end. So how many of the 100 out of 60 albums Frank put out, how many do you have that he put out when he was alive?
But this is a strange question for me because I always I have all of them.
Yeah, okay. Do you have all 100 that came out after he died?
Yeah,
Did you watch Cheaper Than Cheap already?
yeah.
Okay. Let's not go into Frank anymore. That was really good, though. That gave me a good basis.
Uh-huh.
Now, back to our script and our questions. Do artists have moral obligation?
No, I don't understand the question. Obligation? What do you mean?
To being moral? Do artists,
Okay.
like, do you know the artist Salo? Do you know the artist Pasolini?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, he made a movie called Salo.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
I
know who
know.
he is? do
Ah,
do yeah. So
yeah. Sorry.
do artists have a moral obligation to be moral?
No, I would be happy if they are, but no obligation. I think. No.
Yeah.
No. No. I don't see. Uh, no, I don't see the question because nobody should be obliged. No, I don't know. No, no,
Okay.
I'm
Are
not in.
you
Hmm,
are you
okay.
more afraid of new ideas or more afraid of old ideas?
Uh, I don't know how to see this. Old ideas. Um, this is my turn to have 2 minutes of silence because
That's all right.
the question is stimulating. No, I have a maybe it's 50-50 because everything old idea are most of them are need to change, need to reshape at least,
Yeah.
and new ideas, yeah, some of them are very scary,
Yeah.
especially all those uh, connected to the environment, which is our main uh, danger in,
Yeah.
and so everything connected to environment, it's very delicate. No, it's 50-50. I think old
Perfect.
ideas have to change, and new ideas you have to think about it.
50-50 is a fine answer and a great song. So the next question is can you conjure up your earliest memory ever or one of them? Can you tell me an early memory, like your earliest memory ever or one early memory?
Well, uh, in general, I have a few recollections of my uh, childhood, and most of them are connected with maybe school. Yeah, I can remember primary school, but before that, not much. I can remember maybe my first recollection are I remember my first teacher in primary school. I was 5. Before that, I don't think I have much recollections.
Is memory more a curse or more a blessing?
I don't understand the first word. A curse?
Curse, curse mean is memory negative thing? Is
Ah,
it a bad thing? Is it more a bad thing or more a good thing?
no, it's more a good thing for me because I had was lucky enough to have a smooth life. I don't. I didn't have traumas, strong traumas. So everything. I would be happy to remember. When I remember things, I'm happy to that it happens. Yes.
Tell me someone within your immediate family who had an impact on you, and what was that impact? Specifically, what was it?
Uh, but I had a lot of discussion with my mother because I was with my mother a lot of years because my father died when I was 18. So I don't have. I have a few recollections with my mom, but my impact with the impact of my father is fading.
How
Is
how did your mom affect you? What way most important did she, what influence did she have mainly on you?
My mother? I think it's the one of the main fact is that I learned that people. It's not. It's often not important what people say. You have to see what people do. Because
Yeah.
my mother, I told you, was. Then my mother also was full of energy and full of initiatives, full of. It was difficult to deal with, but a great character, I think. And in since I tend to be more quiet, more reflexive, and my mother was all intuition, no writings, and this is was something I watched. It was a great impact for me, this because we had 10 years of living together, because my sister were grown up and goes in other houses in the same city. Then I was from 18 from my when I was 18 until I was 28, 29 maybe. I was with my mother only. So it was a great impact for me
You know,
in a good way. Yeah.
you would appreciate my mother also had a big impact on me, and she named me after the patron saints of mothers, Saint
Huh.
Gerard. So
Wow.
I was destined from the beginning to be a mother's freak.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And now I study matristic civilization.
Ah,
Okay, so now the same question outside your immediate family, someone who had an impact on you, and what was that impact?
uh, a lot of people. A lot of people. When I was young, maybe it was a, a boy 2 years or 5 years or maybe 3 years older than me that has a huge collections of music. He was my main window to 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 the world of music. That because in that time, music because friends show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was a very
Wh-
important one.
What
Then
was his name?
Fabrizio.
And what else did he was he the one who gave you hot rats?
No, no, Outras was before that, and it was given by the husband of my sister,
Oh
but
yeah, okay.
it was a suggestion from the record shop.
Who did Fabrisco turn you on to? Say maybe two or three other artists that you appreciate.
Maybe the main one is Perubu, David Thomas. You know, Per- it's a U.S. It started as a U.S. New wave band, but then
Pierre Ubu?
Pere
Pere
Perubu.
Ubu. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know Pere Ubu.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I have the opportunity to made a shooting during 10 years ago, maybe in Rome, and then he used one of my mm, pictures in the cover of one of the Pereubu album. I was very
Oh,
happy with
good.
this.
And he passed away about a year ago, right? Or two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
He was a member of the Ridge. Did you know that he was a member of the Zappa fan club?
No, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
You know that original send in $1 and be a member of the Zappa.
Oh,
In
really? I didn't know that.
Oh
That's
yeah.
that's
Yeah, no,
that's a new
I
thing
talked
I'm
to
learning. Wow.
I talked to him once. Yeah.
No, me too. This
Okay,
guy,
good.
it is one of my favorite brain and
Yeah.
soul in music. It's
Two,
it's a person.
two other bands that Francisco he turned you on to besides Pierre Ubu that you
What else? Talking
that
Heads.
Talking Heads, who else?
Um, and maybe what else? Bauhaus.
Bauhaus. Okay. Good. Okay, now did your parents raise you a particular religion?
Of course, a big one.
Let me guess, Roman Catholic?
Yes,
Do
but
you
now I'm out of it.
do you
Since
pray?
No, I'm out of religion since I was maybe 16.
But do you pray now at all? No or yes? No.
No,
If God does exist, what would you like God to say to you after you die?
I don't understand the word God.
Right, but say there's some sort of thing like God that
I don't
does
understand. I don't understand.
Okay, that's fine. Do evil people exist or does evil use people as a vehicle?
I think big as as suggested uh, in a movie for childs. Not a cartoon. It's it's uh, okay. Evil is a nail in
Well,
your.
what's the name of the movie first of all?
The movie is called.
American movie or
No,
English
it's a French author, I think. Oh, Dion.
French movie? Okay.
and it's there's a witch in this movie, a very evil witch. But at the end of the movie, it is revealed that he has a nail in his back, and when someone keep away this nail, he stopped to be evil. So evil is something that nobody is evil from
Birth.
birth.
Right.
Okay.
We're all capable of being evil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, when
Yeah.
you figure out the title, put it in the chat.
Yeah. Yes.
That-
My daughter sneaked in
yeah.
and give me do
Yeah,
it.
but don't put it in the chat. Put it in the comments after the video's posted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's
Because
really cool, and then I'll put in the comments.
yeah, because it's we'll be done in 10 minutes and then it will be on YouTube and then you can add the comment. But this has been really fun. It's really good. So this is the question: how do you advise someone to deal with an enemy? Like if your daughter is being bullied, what advice do you give her?
Okay. Yeah, in some way this happened. It happened, and I said, um, mm, do not confront with it, and it's my approach that, and I don't think my daughter has the same approach, absolutely. But my approach in if I can, I take another way. I don't want to confront with
Yeah,
I want to avoid confront with the enemy. Non, I'm not the one that who fight
yeah.
directly, unless it's my life. It's a last fight is the last option.
And so do you think that punishment works?
Punishment for what?
If someone commits a crime and
Okay.
if they're caught, does punishment work?
Ah, well, I think it's punishment. The word punishment, as a cold concept, it does not work. I think you have to do. You have to, if you committed a crime, you have to give back something to society, and
Yeah,
so and in doing so, society hopes that you will be back in society soon. So you have to be somewhat controlled while you are giving back something. So
yeah.
work, it's should be the a form, if you have to use the word punishment. But someone said that the civilization of a nation is recognized in the quality of the prisons.
Yes. Very good.
So if your system is punishment only, your civilization is very low.
It's a really good point. So James Joyce was the first projectionist in Dublin 100 years ago.
Huh.
He basically checked out Volta Cinema. He says, I'm out of here. This is stupid. Why should I go inside a building and see a movie of a tree when I can go outside and see a real tree? William Faulkner, many years later, said, sometimes the best fiction is more true than journalism. Why do we have to recreate things in order to get them? Why do we have to go to a theatrical play of people acting out life? Why don't we just live life?
because sometimes you need to change perspective. If you have a uh, I'm back to the environment because I learned that there's a movie out called The End, which is a musical, uh, dystopic musical about environment. There's a family in a below in a bunker. A bunk it lives underneath the earth because the earth is on flame,
Yeah,
and they act like everything is normal, and they sing, and I think this is a perfect example of what of when you need to change perspective, because we are all accustomed or about our condition, and we go on and we don't pay the right attention, we don't focus on what is changing around us, and the only way to change it is to change perspective. So
yeah,
you need it when the more you are with your firm, with old ideas freezed, the more you need to change perspective, and to change perspective you maybe sometimes you need to 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 deal with this very thing in a completely different manner. And I think the idea of making a musical, of a movie about environment, is a great idea.
did you see this? Is this Joshua Oppenheimer's film?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. That's amazing. He's a good filmmaker.
It's good. I didn't see it yet
Yeah,
because it's out these days. I want to go.
yeah. He's an important filmmaker. His documentaries are mind blowing. You know, he made two really important documentaries.
I read about it. I did. Now I have to learn about it because I don't know this author, and I like very much this idea of making a musical out
Yeah,
of this. Hmm.
yeah. My battery is going down, so I have to close out soon. But let's go into this question, and we'll plan a part two so that we can go really deep into Frank Zappa and music
Yeah.
down the line. So this is a screenwriting teacher told me great art is when you can clearly see the intention of the maker.
Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick says the opposite. Great art is when you can clearly not see the intention of the maker.
Hmm.
What, first of all, in your regard, what role does intention play in your creative process, your creativeness, and being a Zappa researcher? What role does intention play?
Being a Zappa, let's say, researcher, the intention is the main engine, but when I'm into it, it's just a it's just a playing force. I like to have good time,
Yeah,
uh, and not I don't want to have a defined objective when I do this.
yeah,
So, and as a photographer, what I learned uh, when I make photography is that um, you have constraints. Nature give you constraints when you are in a in a place, and you have to deal, and you have to use these constraints for and bring back to your side. So the intention, the intention is something that took shape in relation with the constraints you are in, I think.
yeah,
And this is true. I think I'm not a musician, but I think it's the same when you write or play music. Yeah, the first thing you have to know that you have constraints, and you have to use these constraints uh, to and the intentions maybe came a step away. But I don't even know how to make a movie, but for a movie it could be different because and once I saw an exhibition about Stanley Kubrick, and they put a big diagram, project diagram, GANTT, Kubrick made of I don't remember which movie, and you can see the intention is even though he said that you don't have to see it, but from his side it's very clear the intention of
Very clear. Yeah, no, it's an ironic statement to hear coming from Stanley Kubrick, especially because they asked Kubrick, and Zappa did a spoof of 2001 in the Monolith in 200 Motels. They asked Kubrick, why did you make 2001 A Space Odyssey? And he said, to convolute McLuhan, meaning to twist Marshall McLuhan. So there's a lot of deep cover, deep we're going into in part two, but your opinion of what your studies of Frank Zappa, what do you think Frank's intention was? Did he have an intention in making music? What's your observation or comment in that regard? What role, it's basically this, what role did intention play in Zappa's creative process?
No, I think his main engine is to have have fun, to the main intention is to have good time while making music.
Yeah.
There's a sentence of him, they say anything, anytime, any place, for no reason at all, no?
Yeah.
So it's dealing with constraints once again, and try to do the best to have fun, to have to build from with his own hands. I see him as a let me see the English word, precise English words, as an artisan. It's something who handcraft.
Artisan. You mean spell it Artisan?
Yes. I see him like someone who can build and construct things, physical, solid things.
Yeah.
Just for the fun of doing this.
That's like his love of Alexander Calder with
the mobiles. Yeah, the mobiles.
Mobiles. Yeah.
The mobiles for Frank Zappa was, I think he used this metaphor for saying that you have to deal with all the aspects. Oh, yes.
Push and pull. Yeah. Balance. Yeah.
Balance. Exactly.
No, that was beautiful, bringing up artisan. That's a word you rarely hear with Frank. Frank was a craftsman. He was a journeyman.
Craftsman. I wanted, what I was searching for is craftsman. Yes. Yeah.
Well, this has been really fun, and I appreciate. I had a great time, and you taught me a lot. Thank you so much, and we'll plan a part 2 down the road.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit the end broadcast button now, but I hope this never ends and we can keep talking forever and ever.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun for me too. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Bye, Gerry.
Bye.
And say hello